Greetings and hello from the beautiful Chinese coastal city of Qingdao in eastern China's Shandong province. I'm Wang Guan and welcome to this special edition of The Hub on CGTN. Now we're here at the 5th Qingdao Multinational Summit. Now this event is unique in that it's the first event taking place in China, tailor-made for multinationals doing business in China. Now this event is big in that it is bringing together hundreds of corporate leaders. Many of them are with a Fortune 500 companies. Now, what are their biggest takeaways from this year's summit, and how are they positioning themselves and their companies in the China market going forward? We caught up with some of them during the sidelines of the summit. Kevin, welcome to Qingdao. First of all, how do you find this year's summit, the 5th session of its kind, and how do you feel about the city?
I really enjoy being here for the second time that I've been able to enjoy the summit. I have been with Valmont now since the summit started 5 years ago. Both times that I've participated, I really am excited about the energy that China puts out to get projects going and to get things started.
You pick up a lot of cynicism and negativity when you turn on the Western press or television. But being here on the ground, talking with policymakers, interacting with your fellow corporate leaders, how do you feel about the prospects of investing in China?
So first of all, Valmont has two divisions. One is infrastructure and one is agriculture. Infrastructure has always been difficult because there's a lot of competition with the Chinese market, and it's a really difficult market, big government projects. Agriculture also has the same challenges, but agriculture is one of the good way to get into a community, get into China, and have people have good feelings about your products. When we supply water products that manage water systems, and most of these projects are 400 to 500 meters long, and they really help conserve water, provide green solutions, and this is what everybody wants to tick the box today in this world.
How does recent policy statements, the issuance of new policies, at least policy directions, affect the positioning of your company? For example, from the 20th plenum, we've heard about coordinating productive forces to forge what they call this new productive forces, emphasis on sustainable development, so on and so forth.
I believe these policies are going to be very well aligned with our core values at Valmont. And our leaders at Valmont now are younger and energetic, so we feel that it may be a good time to do a good look at what we can do with investing in China. Mostly in the agriculture sector. Our agriculture sector around the world has been growing by a rate that is more than normal. Not to really give you any numbers, but our company is 75 years old. And during this time, we slowly grew into the position of being, the world leader in the products that water management products and projects. We've done some of the largest projects in the world, especially in the Middle East and Africa, and the U.S., is the largest market in the world for our products. So I believe that since our factories are regional, it's a good time to get a good base in China and build up this base.
Mm-hmm. How do you find the utility of forums such as this one, the Multinational Summit taking place in Qingdao?
I find it very informative. The numbers from China are very impressive, and the amount of cooperation, the different supply chains that you have, the ports you have available, makes it very interesting to us.
And specifically, presumably a lot of challenges and policy-wise and industrial policy-wise that you have to maneuver over the years. What has it been like aligning your strategic goals while maneuvering through the regulatory, legal, and market challenges?
Since we're agriculture, there's usually a lot of good programs for agriculture and agriculture products. So we usually see the least amount of regulation. And that's usually very good for our industry.
Specifically, what policies do you find most encouraging or most useful incentives to help your business grow and expand in China?
Probably the technology incentives and the different things for using new technologies. Our product is a very old product with very few technologies, but as we get into the new management systems for water conservation, I find it's a very good platform to start looking at these as we incorporate and change to different energy policies.
For example, China has been pronouncing itself as a global leader when it comes to transitioning into net zero. Do you find that policy or that kind of strategic goals useful for your company?
Yes, like I said, it aligns with our core values. It aligns with what we do today. You know, our machines now are all electric, and we're getting away from fossil fuels. We're dealing with solar applications, you know, to power our equipment. We love the fact of green energy, and we're totally involved with it as a company also.
And then, Kevin, how big of a challenge do you find geopolitical rivalries play in today's world? You're an American company, right? If I'm not mistaken. And then apparently we're having this strains and tensions in China-US relations. How big of a challenge does that pose to your company?
It's a tension all the time. It drives us to be very conservative with what we do. So we have to look at what technologies we can put in China and how we can manage this.
You're confident that you can do this? You can pull it off?
Yeah, I believe that we can take care of that. We have a lot of things today. There was some talk about in the WTO organization about the different ways that we'll have to manage technology and where data is stored. Even though we're agriculture, we do store data, and we have to move that usually to the US and bring that data back and process it. And we find this in many countries, not only China, to be an issue. So, and all we do as a company is we need to be able to analyze it, to look at the data so that we can identify if it's a drought issue or a bug issue or a insect. So we need to be able to manage this with our own resources and not be able to let the technology out.
Is your company affected by the trade tariffs, for example?
A lot of countries have different tariffs. Mostly we do our factory planning around the world as central factories and regions. So we really aren't affected in the APEC region because it's Australia, New Zealand, and your neighbors on land. So, but if you go into the US or this type of market, it's an issue.
Mm-hmm. China is as big as it is diverse. Being here in Shandong, how do you feel about the business environment from operating here in China, in Shandong in particular?
Business environment is great. There's resources in every department that we need for our business. So we don't have any real problem with resources, especially human resources and technical resources. When Valmont came to Shandong province, Yantai, they brought their infrastructure and their agriculture both into Shandong. We now have infrastructure in Shanghai. But our capital city, our corporate headquarters is located in Omaha, Nebraska, and they are a sister city of Yantai on the global side of it.
Finally, any hopes that you might want to express to the policymakers who might be watching this program as a leading industrial company operating between China and the US and across the Pacific?
Probably there's not any real policies that I would like to put out there. The big thing is we do need to be able to cooperate. We do need to look at our technologies and be able to keep them within our company. These are probably our only issues. But we're not rocket science. We're leaders in our business because of the communication and the dedicated people we have and our global structure.
Kevin, thank you very much for doing this.
Thank you.
So first of all, welcome to Qingdao, Shandong, China. I hope you've enjoyed your stay here. Talking about the summit, it's the fifth of its kind, the Qingdao Multinationals Summit. What is your biggest takeaway from this summit, and what policy messages and policy signals did you pick up that you find most useful?
今回、チンタオサミットに参加して、中国政府の外資企業の重視という姿勢と、それから、質の高い成長戦略に非常に感銘を受けました。で、サミットそのものがやっぱグローバル企業の交流の貴重なグローバル企業の交流の場を提供しているということと、それから山東省をはじめチンタオが非常にそのビジネス環境がね整っているということも非常に印象に残っています。サミットの今後については、引き続きこれまで通り、経済政策のアップデートとか、それからグローバル企業と国有企業の交流の場の促進とか、それからやっぱ国際的な重要な課題の議論の深掘りなんかを期待しています。丸紅としてはこのサミット参加を通じて中国への理解をさらに深めて長期的な発展につなげていきたいと考えています。
So going forward, how do you plan to position your company in China? Will you increase your positioning in the Chinese market, in Shandong in particular? How would you align your strategic goals of your company with the new policy manifestations of the Chinese government, ranging from sustainable development, new quality productive forces to the transitioning into net zero?
丸紅の中国に関する戦略としては3つを今挙げています。1つ目がトレードの拡大と新規ビジネスの創出、2つ目が社会課題への対応、3つ目が中国発の新しいビジネスの創出です。特にグリーンビジネス、それから中国企業と提携した新しい技術の開発からやっぱり優れた中国製品の輸出などを通して、中国の持続可能な成長もしくはイノベーション駆動型の発展に寄与していきたいと思っています。これらの中国へのその参画を深めることによって、丸紅グループ全体としてのグローバルでの目標達成を目指していくのと合わせて、中国への協力を深めることで、そのお互い互恵的ウィンウィンの関係を中国と築くことができればと思っています。
Sir, I've got to ask you a question about Shandong, the very province we are in. Of course, locals here pride themselves in being, hospitable, in being down to earth, and in being turning out good products and services, solid products. Is that how you find about this city? Is that how you feel about this city and the province?
基本的にはすごく私自身も中国いろんな場所を回ってるんですけども、非常にやっぱり日本人にとって山東省って分かりやすい。まず人がすごく性格が日本語で言うと竹を割ったようにね、やっぱり裏と表がないような感じですごく分かりやすいし、それから風景も海と山があって日本に近いところもあるんで、すごく感情的に親しみやすいところがあるんで、それも日本企業が山東省に来る理由の一つになっていると思います。
Sir, I want to ask you a question about craftsmanship because this really lies at the heart of Japanese manufacturing and the rise of the Japanese manufacturing. How would you compare the Japanese craftsmanship versus Chinese craftsmanship? Because if you take a look around, China has been making itself known globally as a manufacturing powerhouse through none other than the emphasis on craftsmanship.
基本的には日本のやっぱり匠みたいなそういった技術って遡れば中国からだいぶ来てるんで、もともとがそんなに違いがないんじゃないかなと。どっちが今は昔は中国がずっと進んでて、それが日本に伝わって日本でまた発展してまた中国に戻ってみてるって感じなんで、こっちがいいあっちが悪いってことでもなくてお互いに切磋琢磨して、両方が良くなればいいと思ってますね。